Yeah.
Good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Today we're going to be following up on last week's conversation where we decided we wanted to pay close attention to our behavior over the course of the week and discuss how we're doing with implementing what we're learning. And then continue our conversation with chapters 7 and 8, I
Mhm.
think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how have you been doing? Have you been doing the wake up challenge?
No.
The
Okay,
set your
I did
alarm
not.
30.
I have been waking up and then I read some and then I read my scriptures and then I usually sometimes I'm falling back asleep. Today I got up and stayed up. I'm giving myself grace during this very stressful time in my life and kind of
Absolutely.
like I'm going to learn everything and put it into action next week when I'm in Kentucky, if that makes it. I just feel so
Absolutely.
overwhelmed right now by everything that it kind of, although it may sound lazy, it gives me peace of
Mhm.
mind. I get up, my alarm goes off at 7. I get up, I read my scriptures, I pray, and then I am sometimes falling back asleep and getting up at like 9:30, which is not a good morning protocol, but I feel like it's keeping me sane right now, which is my goal. Right. So,
Absolutely.
but I am excited. Because it's so much on the front of my mind of like
Mhm.
creating what is my schedule going to look like when we move. I even have
Mhm.
talked to Andrew. I'm like, why don't we go to the gym every morning? Then we'll do our school. We'll be done with everything by lunch. Like, let's have a good, and then afternoon I could work. And so it's in my mind of exactly what I want it to look like. And I feel like, yes, we're going to do
Sounds
this. What
sounds
about you
good.
guys?
Sounds
Whatever
good.
works is what you have to do, period.
Have you guys done it? Angie, are you walking?
Um, Not yet, but what I have done, I adjusted my alarm because I didn't set it earlier because I wasn't getting up at the time it goes off anyway. But I decided, since part of my reluctance to getting up with the alarm is, why do I need to be up this early? I don't need to be up this early. So instead of 7, I moved my alarm to 8 o'clock, where I'm more likely to get up. Now I haven't done that yet, but I'm getting up closer to it. Um, what I did do is I posted in the ladies group that our neighborhood has on Facebook. It's called the Ladies of Tuscan Lakes, looking for other ladies who would like to walk.
You know what that is? Social Wellness Club.
Exactly. That's kind of where the idea came from. I was having a conversation about social wellness club with a teammate, um, and that's when I had the idea. But that's also moving me towards accountability with walking.
Yeah.
And
And it's more fun with other people.
absolutely, absolutely. And the development that we live in, because I don't know about other places, but here in Texas, it's like every neighborhood has a name,
Mhm.
and ours is very large. And interestingly, the majority of the response I have gotten has been from other ladies right in my immediate area,
That's amazing.
where like we can
You could like
just
walk out and pick each other up along the.
exactly. I mean, one lady is literally, our house is on a corner and her house is on the street that goes alongside our house. So like when described how we decorate for Christmas, she says, "Oh yeah, I know your house. I love your house."
Yeah. What a
So,
great way to like build community
mhm,
also.
mhm, exactly. So I just
That's awesome.
that's why I was a minute or two late getting on, because I was making a list of, okay, Christine says she lives over in this area and she walks at these times. And then there's Belinda who lives on this street and she likes to walk at these times. And because now I need to keep track or somebody's gonna slip through the cracks and get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
But I've had like 6 responses.
And people are gonna see you walking and they're just gonna like start joining you. I
Hope
love
so.
that.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know that we're all going to walk together, but it gives me a variety of people and depending on the time of day or whatever, if I haven't gotten my walk in the morning, I can hit up Christine and say, "Hey, I didn't walk this morning. Can I meet you?" Blah blah blah. So
I think so really going out on the edge and like trying to plan some walks together. will meet
Yeah.
people. Even if it's like Saturdays or
Right.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and
So-
then what'll happen is you'll start to get people that you get along with better, and you
Right.
guys will naturally start to walk
Right.
every day.
Right.
You know?
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Maybe I should put that out there because the lady who's an immediate neighbor to me, like I could see her house from my house. I just don't know which one it is yet. We were supposed to walk this morning and I was lying in bed. This is terrible. I was lying in bed thinking, I hope she cancels.
Now, where did that come
That's
from?
the
For not
feelings
wanting
getting
to
in
get
the way.
up, or not wanting to walk, or not wanting to walk with a stranger? Where did that thought come
Not
from?
wanting to get up. Not
Okay.
wanting to get up.
Did she cancel?
She did. She messaged me and said that she was so excited she forgot that she already had a commitment this morning. So we rescheduled for tomorrow morning at the same time, 9
What
o'clock.
time? 9
9 o'clock.
is easy, Angie.
I'm not usually up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, but I will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, because all I have to do is roll out of bed, put on walking clothes,
Yes.
run a comb through my hair,
Brush your
and
teeth
go.
and go. It's the
Yeah.
easiest thing.
Yeah. So, but I
You
think she
should
and I are
put
both really
In your
excited.
chat that you two are going to be walking tomorrow at 9 a.m. and see if anybody else wants to join.
Well, I haven't created a chat of everybody, but I'm thinking maybe I should do that
Yeah.
so that we can all be in touch with the other people who want to
Mhm.
walk.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I'm excited. So I'm
Yay.
moving in that direction and I'm being more productive in other areas. I'm not necessarily 5, 4, 3, 2, 1ing myself into doing the things, but I am saying just get up and do it. Just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Pass through the laundry room and realize the dryer has quit. Just deal with it right now.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I'm
Good.
it's coming along. Hey Abby, how about you? How are you doing?
Hey, I am good. I appreciated the tough love last weekend or last Friday. I've had a really better week this week with now I haven't been perfect and it's not plexus related, but I've gotten myself back into the groove of working out and hitting my runs that I need to run. Again, I haven't hit them all, but it's progress and it's getting me to where I need to be. So just trying to take it my day and just do what I need to do and hopefully it'll all come there. But no, last Friday it really hit me when it was said that, you keep saying this, what are you going to change? Like it's time to change something. So
Yeah.
Well, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that you appreciated that because there have been times over the week it's like, was I too hard on her? Was I too hard on her? Is she not going to come back?
no,
So I'm glad.
life is just a little crazy right now. So I am just trying to show up wherever I can and plug in and just listen and take advice and hear whatever I can hear. So no, I give you full permission and everyone on this call to always tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. I have a great divorce attorney that's what I love about him is that he tells me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And if you just tell people what they want to hear, you're just coddling them and enabling that behavior. So,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
There's no ride with that. It's always a back come if you're like that. Truth will set you free.
Yeah. I was on a call earlier today And the person was talking about, we need a good community on our team, and so that other people want to join the community. The community has to come first. And I was like, no, you got to bring the people first, and then it becomes a community. And she shared a community she's in with another team and how great it is and so fun, and shared what she liked about it. And I was like, that's amazing. How many people have you added to your team since being a part of that community? And it was none. So I was like, then that means it doesn't work that way. Like,
Mhm.
it's great to have friends and people to chat with, but that's not what adds people to your team. What adds people to your team is actually doing the hard things and reaching, and sometimes it's hard to hear, like but it can be valuable. So I'm just glad, to see you running and posting about running and moving and taking action, right? Just
I
especially
actually,
when things are hard. It's so hard to take action on things when you do have valid excuses to be like, my life sucks right now. I don't want to do that. And people
Yeah.
can be like, yeah, your life does suck right now. But when you rise above that and you're like, but I'm still going to show up, then that's where the real strength comes, which is what you're doing, which is so good.
the couple days that I've worked out. So I worked out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I skipped yesterday and I need to go for a run today. Tuesday in particular, I felt so clear headed and so focused. I started a new job and I just felt like I'm just laser focused with it. I just felt way clearer. And then Wednesday, I had a call at noon and I told my boss, I said, hey, I'm going to check out for about an hour. I'm going for a run. She hearted it. She says, absolutely, we'll chat when you get back. And it's funny, you go for an hour, you step away for a minute, you come back and you're just
Ready
clear.
to
And
go.
I just knew I was going into a pattern where I kept saying the same thing over and over and over, and I needed to make changes. And I can't change it all overnight. I can't do everything overnight, but as long as I'm making progress and continuing. Sorry,
Yes,
don't
take your time.
No.
keep going. Let me.
So proud of you. That's awesome.
That's good job.
Where are we at, if you don't mind? I'm sorry I'm late to the party.
Chapter
We have,
7.
no, you're fine.
Sorry, Angie, go.
No, you're fine. We haven't even really started talking about the book just yet. We were talking about, kind of where we left off with our conversation last week and how we were going to pay attention this week as to how we were implementing what we're learning. So, that's
That's what we're talking about. And that's what you
That's
just
where we're
shared.
at.
So perfect.
that's where we're at. So, are we ready to move on to chapter 7? It's chapter 7, right? I know I've
Yep.
asked that before. Yeah, we talked about chapter 6 last week. Okay. Find. Okay, there it is. All right. Any takeaways from chapter 7? Did we glance back over it before today since it was actually read for last week?
I love, it's near the beginning, but where she says, it's the beginning of a paragraph, but it says, and our feelings in the moment are almost never aligned with what's best for us. Lord of
Right.
mercy. I feel like, okay, mic drop. That's all. So true.
Mhm.
Like not wanting to get out of bed this morning, so hoping that my walking date would cancel.
Yeah. Like, I really
I
want to get diamonds, but I don't, like, it doesn't feel good to message 100 people.
Hello there.
Good to see you. Close the door.
Yeah, I underlined the entire paragraph just prior to that about if you've ever wondered why it's so hard to make yourself do the things that you know will solve your problems and improve your life, the answer is simple. It's your feelings. None of us realize it, but we make almost every single decision, not with logic, but with our hearts, not based on our goals or dreams, but with our feelings. And that is so me. And that was one of the notes that I made on, as for my takeaways, that's so me. I'm not feeling it. I don't want to do that right now. I'll do that later. I'm not going to feel like doing it later either.
Mm-mm.
Rarely.
You know, there's going to come a point where I'm just going to feel so guilty about the fact that I haven't done it yet. That's what's going to motivate me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know, I'm seeing stuff pop up on my Facebook feed about different programs or whatever for dealing with procrastination and about how procrastinators are driven by guilt.
Mhm.
It's like, wonder where
Absolutely.
that comes from. But I don't want to keep paying for programs that I'm not going to do. So I'm plugging into Emily Gibson and I'm going with that.
Yeah, it's a good idea to pick one and just
Hmm.
at least give it 3 to 6 months of actually taking action instead of just absorbing it. And if that system works, stick with it. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't work if you don't take action. None of them do. But if you follow it for 6 months, taking action, doing exactly what she says, and it works, stick with it. If not, then pivot.
So yeah, and at least I got myself grandfathered at $59 a month.
Oh, good.
Um, okay, so below there, later in that paragraph that Christy pointed out the start of, it says study after study shows that we opt for what feels good now or feels easier rather than doing the things that we know in our hearts will make us better in the long run. Again, that's me lying in bed this morning. I don't want to get up just yet, so I hope my 9 o'clock walking date cancels.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. What would the better version of you have done when she canceled?
Gotten up and walked anyway.
Just checking.
That's a
Um,
checkup from the neck
and
up, girl.
I thought about it, but I have a
And then
pretty
you didn't
full
feel
day
like it?
today. I have a pretty full day, and having that hour back, what I did do, I didn't get up immediately, but when I did get up, I cleaned the kitchen and started the dishwasher, and there was a load of laundry still sitting in the washing machine that I threw in the dryer. And I worked a little bit right before getting on. I worked a little bit on a project I need to do this afternoon for an event this evening. I'm decorating a cake. So I worked on planning what I'm going to do, and then this afternoon is for decorating.
Which is good. The only thing that I would say, and I think Abby the runner would second this, is you didn't go because you didn't want to do it for an hour because you had so much to do. You could have just gone for 15 minutes. You know,
That's
and
true.
then you would have felt better.
That's true.
You still could. You still could. You could get off this call and say, I'm going to take 15 minutes, 7.5 out, 7.5 in, or a loop around the block. And then you've walked.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're starting the habit of walking, because so many people don't exercise or work out because they're like, I don't have an hour. Okay, get on the floor and do 15 sit-ups. Walk. There's just,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that
No,
already.
you're so right.
that,
You're
but
so
you
right.
have to do it for an hour. Like Abby says, when she went and goes and comes back, she's so clear-headed. And I think any of us who exercise know, like I went this morning and driving home, I was like, I feel so much better. Like I've gone to the gym, I'm home by 10. Like I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good day now. And that. So just a reminder, just go
Yeah.
for 15 minutes.
Well, it's funny that I consider it as that walking takes an hour, because even when I do walk, I don't walk for an hour.
Walking takes
At
as long
least-
as you go. And then it's over.
Yeah. Currently, when I walk, the route that I walk, I'm typically done in 30 minutes. So why am I thinking it takes me an hour?
Because that gives you a good excuse to back out
Yeah.
because you don't have an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
And I
So-
think sometimes we programmed ourselves to say, in particular with working out, exercising, like you either have to do it, it's kind of an all or nothing thing. Either you go for an hour or it's not worth it, so to speak, because you didn't get the full hour in. But like Christy was saying, just that little bit, just putting that habit into place, that you're building that habit. You might not be able to go for an hour today. You might only be able to do 15 minutes. It might be the same thing for tomorrow, but just keep building on it. But I know that's what I struggle with too, because I'm kind of an all or nothing. Either I'm going to go out and I'm going to do all of this. I have 4 miles on my training plan to run today. Well, if I can't do 4, then I'm just, I'm not going to do 1 or 2. But if I do 1 or 2 today, it'll make the next time I run just that much easier because I've already have another 2 miles under my belt.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny how our brains sabotage us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, funny, not funny, haha, funny, I don't know, funny, sad.
Your
They
brain is
want to
really
keep you
smart.
safe rather than doing what you're supposed to do. It's a safe mechanism, and in
Mhm.
reality, it really isn't that way.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain
Right.
is so smart. You're smarty pants. There you go, being human again.
Absolutely.
There you
Yep.
go, human again.
So, that same thought is repeated on the next page. Well, like, okay, back up a second. Under the heading, you make decisions based on how you feel. Although I questioned that because the flip side of that is making decisions based on how you feel. That's a form of trusting your gut. And sometimes that's a good thing to trust your gut. But I liked the line about that human beings are feeling machines that think, not thinking machines that feel. And I think that's true. I think our feelings are more, maybe not more powerful, but they're more automatic than logic.
Mhm.
Let's see. On the next page, the idea gets repeated about how you feel in the moment is almost never aligned with your goals and your dreams. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never get what you want.
That's right.
Mhm.
And then the story about Lin-Manuel Miranda and how it took him 6 years to write Hamilton. But he kept at it.
And
he
we call
kept
him
at
an
it.
overnight success.
So,
Imagine having a husband that's working on one thing for 6 years before it works. He
Yeah.
must have had the sweetest wife ever.
well, and I think it said that his wife was the one that like
Yeah.
encouraged him to get back at it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a little bit further on, after the big 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the middle of the page, about a page and a half beyond that, that confidence is a skill you build through action. And it makes reference to the idea of do good, be good, that dates back to Aristotle. I was familiar with that quote because I had used it in class, but I looked it up to make sure I didn't mess it up. And the actual quote is, and I may decide to post this today because that would add value, right? To share a
Mhm.
quote.
Yep.
We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit.
Mhm. If you do it excellently, yes.
So I'm sticking that to my laptop so I'll remember to post it later.
Mm.
A little bit further on, our minds aren't stupid. It's not like you can just tell your mind, think positively. You've got to nudge it along. So, yes, for sure. I agree with all of that. Anyone have anything they want to add? Abby, I'm on page 96, if that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like from the bottom of 95 to 96 was the part about our minds aren't stupid, etc. So, courage is a push, I think was in this chapter. Maybe no, that was in the last chapter. Anyway. At the top of page 99, circling back around to the Aristotle idea, change your behavior first, because when you do, you change how you perceive yourself. So, yes, I know it's been a refrain from me for a while now about wanting to get back to the walking, and I'm not there yet, but I'm moving in that direction.
Are you
So-
really wanting to walk, or do you feel that you have to walk?
I know that it's good for me.
Okay.
Since I fell out of the habit of walking, I've gained about 20 pounds. And I don't know that my eating habits are all that different. So I think the walking is what took the weight off in the first place, because I lost weight when I was in the habit of walking regularly. And I mean, I was walking like 3 miles a day, multiple times a week. And then I started having trouble with my feet and had to back off of the walking. So, but ease and nerve and arch support sleeves to the rescue. And my feet are better now,
Great.
but I have not been able to regain the habit, reattain the habit. So there's this big laziness thing that's in my way. That's what's in my way.
Hmm.
And when I was walking regularly, I actually had a more structured schedule. There is zero structure to my schedule now.
And I think there's not a single super successful person, millionaire, CEO, any interviews you see, every single one of them talk about exercise being a part of
Mhm.
what they do, ideally in the morning, but every single one of them touches on the importance of exercising, and going back to what we all learned in the habits book, as you do that, if your goal is to walk every day or 5 times a week or whatever, the more often you check that off as having done it, you're building your self-confidence and your belief in yourself that I keep promises to myself.
Mhm.
Like, you were more than willing to wake up to go walk with this lady because you promised her you'd walk with her, but you didn't promise yourself you'd walk with you.
Mhm.
So when you repeatedly keep promises to yourself, whether it's I'm going to reach out to 5 people, I'm going to go on a walk, I'm going to not eat a pint of ice cream, like whatever commitment you make to yourself, the more often you keep it, the more self-confidence grows.
It's true. Apparently, I'm just really, really committed to being lazy.
Well, you know what happens when you say that out loud?
Because I make it true.
Mhm.
That's true. You're
Your
right.
brain is working to prove you right.
That's right.
So I would make a real effort to remove the word lazy from your vocabulary, period. Like, literally, if you are thinking about saying it, don't, and plug something else in, right? Even if just remove it from your vocabulary. I mean, I used to have a really bad spending habit, and I had a really real aversion. I think I've shared this with you guys before, a real aversion to saving. And every time my husband would say, we need to save more, I would go shopping. That word was a trigger for me. And it just set something off of me that was not productive. And my coach recommended that we remove that from our vocabulary. And I had to say to my husband, we do not say that. Don't say that word. So we switched to, we're building abundance. We're building an abundant lifestyle. He removed saving, which felt limiting and ugly and harsh to me. and replace it with abundance. And that feels good to me.
Mhm.
And so doing some work, maybe writing, thinking through of how you remove that word from your vocabulary will be a game changer, because it's obvious that that word carries a negative feeling around it for you. And as
I'm
long
writing
as
that
you're
down.
naturally spitting it out, your brain is believing it, because that's what
And
it's
you're
wired
acting
to do. And you're putting it into the universe. You're going to have a million opportunities to prove yourself correct. I don't think in our house we have said we need to save more in 4 years. And my spending habits and my building an abundance account
Mm.
is night and day. I don't think we've had a fight about money in 3 years.
Even that piece is useful, the idea of building abundance instead of saving / not spending.
I feel like I'm being punished when he's like, stop spending money. You need to save. And I was like, don't tell me what to do. But when I was building abundance,
agree.
I was like, oh, that feels amazing. That feels really good to me. You know, like it doesn't feel bad when he's like, putting this in our vacation fund. Awesome. Whereas before there was one savings account and I wasn't allowed to touch it ever. And once he put money in there, it wasn't allowed to come out. And I'd be like, but it's our money. We're supposed to use it on things that we like. Like, it's like, no, you don't touch it once it goes in. And I'm like, you're an asshole. That's no, what are you saving for? I don't even know what you're saving for.
Right.
Well, you know, a better life. And I'm like, why can't I live a good life right now? Like, it was just this, it was awful. And when my coach taught me to do that, it changed everything, So now we are, you know, I've got an abundance fund. The bank might call it a savings account. I'm trying to build an abundant lifestyle.
And you don't feel being controlled.
I don't feel hampered at all when that money moves over there anymore. Has a name. There's a wedding account for my son. There's a vacation account. They all have names. And even though the bank might be like, why the hell do you have 5 savings accounts? I don't care. Now I know what's in there and where it goes to. And I feel good about that. I'm like, oh, you can take that out of our joint checking because I want my kid to have a great wedding, or I want to spend that on vacation, or you know what, does that make sense?
Right.
Like,
It has a name, it has a purpose.
and my banker doesn't care. She's like, you can have as many accounts with different names as you want. Doesn't matter to us. They have all the money. They don't care how many accounts it's divided up into.
Right.
But, you know, same for how you feel about anything. If there's a word that continues to make you feel yuck, eliminate it. There are enough words in our English language that you can use that will be more inspiring, uplifting, and encouraging to you.
Right.
With the same goal, because obviously I don't want to be lazy isn't encouraging you to go walk.
No.
And it's because it makes you feel yuck. And nobody wants to, you know, sorry, I went on a tangent. Take
No,
that
you're
out
fine.
of
You're
your,
fine. It's
out of your
something I
vocabulary.
need to think about. Because it does come very automatically, and frankly, it goes back to being called lazy in my childhood.
I was going to say, somebody has called you that a lot and you've
Mhm.
chosen to believe it.
That's in your past.
Mhm.
That does not need to still operate in your life, because that
Nope.
was a different time.
But we don't need to continue in that vein because I'll cry. So I like this page. I think I'm going to Xerox that and put it on the bathroom mirror.
Love it. Yep.
It ties in with what we've been talking about. Instead of the woulda, coulda, shoulda,
Right.
did. So, anything else on chapter 7? We ready to go on to chapter 8?
Hmm.
Where are we on time? Okay. Um, takeaways from chapter 8. This is how to start using the rule. And this is where the idea of the wake up challenge comes in. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier, and the moment it rings, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself out of bed.
And put the alarm in another room. That's redonkulous. But I have done that before and it does
I
actually
have too. I have too. When I was teaching, I had to.
Yeah.
Because I had to get up before 5 o'clock in the morning when I was teaching. I needed to leave the house before 6.
Yeah. I mean, it works. I've done it. I'm with you though, Angie, kind of on your sleeping in thing. Like, you're like, I don't have anything to do anyway. Again, though, that's just a thought because honestly, if I got up and I worked out and I did my plexus stuff and I meal prepped and I cleaned, I would be like golden. Like, you know,
Days worth of work right there.
Right?
yeah. Yep.
Well, and I did feel good yesterday because I got up earlier than what I normally lie in bed till, and baked the cake that I need to decorate today, and did the laundry, and then got the cake out of the oven, and just I had, I was able to say to myself, it's only noon and I've done this, 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 and this. And it feels good.
Yeah, that's a win. Those are wins.
So anyway, um, any takeaways from chapter 8?
I feel like the important thing is to really, what do you want your day to look like? And design it. And when you map it out, you have a good idea of how much time it's going to take to
Mhm.
get the things that you want to get done. And then based on that, determine when you need to wake up. And I think what even plays into that is if part of your connection time with your spouse, even if it's just sitting in the same room watching TV, if that's important to you guys, then that needs to be taken into account, right? If you're like, my husband gets home at 5:30, I want to be done with everything by 5:30, then it's important. And I think being smart about how long things are going to take, we as humans have we do a really good job of underestimating how long things are going to take, right? So being realistic, and I think maybe keeping a log. You know how, like, if you want to lose weight, you keep a food log? Keeping a time log of like, hey, how long does it really take me to clean the kitchen? Some people clean it at night, some clean it in the morning, but whatever your thing is for your house, time it. Okay, an average kitchen clean is 18 minutes. Like, really design your day, the ideal day, because once you have it, you really can. Then if you can sleep until 9:30 and still get everything done, sleep until 9:30. Like, I was looking at somebody's Instagram post today and it was like, to be super successful, you need to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and do this, this, and this before 8. And I was like, you've lost your ever loving mind. If you think, because also, you should know when you're most productive, right? I am really productive typically from about 11 to 4 or 5. I'm not really productive in the morning. So it's better for me to work out in the morning instead of work. So, you know what? Like, it's better for me to do my laundry, clean my house, and work out in the morning because I know I'm really firing on all cylinders when it comes to my plexus business and how I communicate from that like 11 to 4 window. And
Mhm.
so also be aware of that and lay it all out. And then you be in charge of your schedule. And if it means you got to wake up at 8:30, then you're like, okay, I can put my alarm in the other room, but I'm going to set it for 8:30. I'm not going to set it for 6 because somebody who doesn't know anything about my lifestyle says it's better to wake up at 6. Like, it's only better if that's how many hours you need to get your stuff done,
Right.
in my opinion.
Agreed.
So they can say all day long, like, set your alarm for this, do this by then. But if you don't have to, because you
Indeed.
work from home and you don't have any kids at home and you don't have to take anybody to soccer practice and gymnast, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is needed for you to do your best each day is going to be different than somebody who's trying to climb the corporate ladder and still do bedtime and homeworks with their kids at night. Right?
Right.
That person does probably need to wake up at 5 a.m.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Gina doesn't. You need to wake up at 5 a.m.
I get up at 5:15.
Why is it the older people get, the earlier they wake up? You
I've
just,
never been a sleeper. I've never been a sleeper.
so it just is.
And
That's amazing.
always get up early in the morning. And when I worked, sometimes I would have to leave the house by 5. But I always took the early morning shifts. I've been in medicine since I was 16. And it just kind of fit. But I've never been a sleeper. And I'm still not. And I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Abby?
I'm the same way. I'm more of an early riser. But lately I've been so tired. I can't seem to get myself out of bed. But even on the weekends, and I think part of it is because I like to have peace and quiet before the kids get up. Like, I like
Yes.
to kind of
Yes.
gradually move into the day. I don't like to pop out of bed, have to shower, get dressed, and go about my day. I just don't. It makes me
Turn
feel,
on all the lights. That's just too much.
yeah. So, and I'm much better in the morning than I am at night. Like, I know the day is already halfway over and now it's going to suck for me to go get my run in because I am more of an earlier person.
Yeah. I've always said the only time I worked out post work, like 5 p.m. or later, was when I was single and I was like looking for a guy at the gym. And that's like, you went after work because everybody went.
Well, you'd make that appointment every day.
It was like a social thing. Everybody was working out at the same time, but now I'm like, no, like if I haven't worked out by noon, I'm probably not working out. Like, it has to be a real, like, I'm training for something, or when I did Hard 75 and it was just I committed to it, but I didn't like it. I also used to wake up much earlier when I had little kids that needed things in the morning. Because I like
Better
that
to get up
peacefulness.
than to get
They
up
wake
and
up
get
early.
They wake up early and they want to eat. And if you wait for them to wake you up, it's like, oh, yes.
Hmm.
Thank goodness.
Well,
I'm
or when we have the grandkids overnight, because our youngest is he'll be 5 in March. And so he still sleeps in bed with us, which is fun. And I know once he wakes up, he's like full energy. So when they've slept over, the dog will wake up before the grandson does. So I get up with the dog and I grab my pillow and I go out to the kitchen and feed the dog. And then we curl up on the couch because otherwise the dog would go back in the bedroom and wake up the grandson. So the dog and I have our morning snuggle on the couch so that the grandson will sleep as long as he will sleep.
That is good. That's good.
So it's
I
just,
think kind of what I was
thinking
just
ahead.
saying.
I'm sorry.
Going towards the 4th to the last chapter in the book, but it says, if you can get up on time, start your day powerfully, plan ahead, think about your goals, and focus on yourself all before you get bogged down in your daily routine, then you'll simply accomplish more. This is the first step to taking control of your life.
I'm sorry, where was that again?
It's almost at the very end. It's the 4th to the last chapter.
Oh yeah, I
Starts
see
with
it.
if you can get up on time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So true. There's a lot of stuff I underlined here. Um, previous to what you were above the two gray boxes prior to what you were just sharing, that I just don't feel like an attitude has a way of taking over your entire day. And that's another reason why this use of the rule is so important. That's so me. She's been looking in my window. That's what I wrote down. So, and back on page 104, just above the Emma box, when you get up the moment that the alarm rings, it gives you personal power. This one small act of getting up when the alarm rings demonstrates that you have the inner strength to do what needs to be done. Plus, as Emma discovered, it will give you a much more positive outlook on the day. And then continuing to move backwards, this really hit the nail on the head for me about activation energy. And I think that's a big part of what I'm struggling against. The activation energy is that the minimum amount of energy to start moving is more than the energy to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that inertia is a big part of my struggle. So there are times when I tell myself, don't sit down, because if you sit down, you're done. You're done. So just keep moving, keep moving. So I can do it sometimes. It's those times when I do let myself stop, and then it's finding that activation energy to get going again. So, other thoughts in chapter 8? One thing I made note of to talk about here is that change is simple, but it's not easy. What does this mean? And why does Mel Robbins feel the need to keep emphasizing this in the book?
I think because, it's hard to break a habit.
Mhm.
It's the doing something new. Oftentimes you're not trying to do something really hard. It's not that the activity you're trying to do is hard. It's breaking the habit that you've held previously that is
Automaticity.
hard. Yeah. It's like when I tell people like succeeding in Plexus, it's not hard. It's like it's simple. The steps you need to do are simple, but doing them, with all the feelings and all the everything that goes into it, the emotions, the dramas that kind of get people off track, that makes it hard. Like if I were to say, reach out to 5 great friends and ask them how they're doing today, you'd be like, okay. So reaching out to 5 people isn't the difficult thing. But when I say reach out to 5 people and ask them if they want to try Plexus, now all of a sudden your heart rate speeds up and you're like, I can't reach out to 5 people. Well, you can, because when I asked you just to reach out to 5 friends about whatever, you're like, check, done. But when I threw in something where they could possibly reject you, now that ask has become very difficult. So it's not that, does that make sense? So I think it's like that breaking the habit. It's doing something a little scary. It's doing something where there's emotion and possible rejection tied to it, makes it hard. The possibility of failure, makes it hard. Like I know that prevented me from going to the gym a lot after my surgery because I was like, I can't do anything. Like I can't, today I was at the gym and I was curling the 20-pound thing and looking at the ladies who I used to work out with and, they're curling the 50-pound thing, which I used to do. And instead on the 20, it's like, I can feel my bicep where it was reattached. And I'm just like, and the part of me wanted to just quit and put it up because I'm like, they see me. What are they thinking? And then I had to be like, they're probably, first of all, thinking nothing. Second of all, it doesn't matter. Like, I have to do this 20 to eventually get back to curling 50. Right? Like, it's not easy. It's a little embarrassing. Like, I don't walk around with this shirt that says, I had shoulder and torn biceps surgery. That's why I'm weak. You know, I don't get to walk around with that. So it's like what I make up in my head
Mhm.
that makes things hard.
Well, and there's a quote that I've seen, and I don't know who it's attributed to. I think it's Ann Landers. That you'd worry less what people think of you if you realized how little they do.
Right.
I've
That's so
heard-
true.
Yeah. And I think that's critical. You know, in my experience, here's my thought. When I'm at the gym, I'm not going to lie, when I see somebody who is like really obese at the gym, the first thought in my mind is good for them. Sorry, my pods keep getting delivered. But I'm like, good for them. And my brother is morbidly obese. So I know that, and my sister-in-law used to be, and she had surgery, but I know in their minds, they don't go to the gym because they're always like, what are people going to think of me? People are going to judge me for being fat. When in reality, people that are really healthy, I think for the most part, look at them and go, kudos. It is way harder for them to show up here than me. I
Right.
am so proud of them because I have watched some obese people try to get up the stairs at our gym, and I'm like, they can't even hardly access half the equipment because it's up those stairs, and yet they're showing up.
Mhm.
You know, but that's that whole like, not only do we think people are thinking of us, we think people are thinking of us negatively. And there are those people. There are so many Karens and haters in the world, but they don't even matter.
Right,
They don't even matter.
right. Yeah, their opinions have no impact on me.
Nope.
So I think I should put this one on the bathroom mirror too.
Yeah, I think. Yep. I think that's a great place for it to go.
So, anything else?
I think that was great.
Okay, so part 3 for next week. Do we want to take on all of part 3? I feel like I was looking ahead a little bit, and I feel like this next section is probably going to have a lot of meat to it. 4 and 5, parts 4 and 5 look a little more like they're going to be the tapering down part of the book. I think part 3 is going to be kind of intense like part 2 has been. So I don't know. What do you think? In part 3, there's that first little 1-page blurb, and then there are 3 chapters, 9, 10, and 11. And chapter 9 is about as long as 10 and 11 put together. Do we maybe just want to do the blurb and chapter 9 for next week and do 10 and 11 the week after?
I like that idea, especially because we spend so much time. I feel like we've spent a lot of time talking about our health and the importance. And I think that also is what we're trying to do for a living, is talk
Yeah.
about health and help people get healthy. So I think really digging into that, because things we learn from here, we can teach others who join our team
In our social wellness clubs.
and our social wellness clubs. And I think maybe reading it also with those thoughts of like, how can we not only, how can this benefit us, but how can we share with others through our posts, through conversations, in helping other people improve their health. I think there's a lot we could really take away from this chapter for our business. I haven't read it, but I'm assuming.
Probably. I think you're probably right. I haven't read it either.
But isn't that, I mean, that's what we're trying to do for a living, is help people improve their health,
Yeah.
and which is the name of this chapter. So
Right.
I think maybe going through it and then kind of maybe even making some action steps and some thoughts and jotting things down of like, how do we educate others? How do we support people on our team? How do we share this with our customers or our future customers might be valuable.
Right. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too,
Monday's
ma'am.
gonna be
You
a
too.
wonderful day for you. Whatever it is, it's gonna be good.
You'll never see me sit here again.
That's right. 2 more days.
I know. You guys
Been
are
missing the
amazing.
frames on the wall.
It's weird, isn't it? And I'm really not happy. This, if we get this house, it'll be the first time in 6 years that I haven't had my own office. Rob's like, you can work from the bedroom. And I'm like,
Oh, maybe not.
where'd all my stuff gonna go? What am I gonna do with all my stuff? I don't know. I don't like it. I'll figure it out. I may be converting the laundry room into an office / laundry room because that's the only other space that
Everything is
Me too.
figure outable.
I was gonna say.
Everything is figure outable.
Everything is figure outable. There's no in between. It may take you a minute or two, but you'll get there.
Yep. And I've learned nobody really uses the laundry room but me anyway, so it might as well be my office.
Okay, you can do the laundry at the same time. That'll be a good thing.
Oh goodness. Okay, you guys.
I'll
Have
see
an
y'all
amazing
next week.
weekend. Thank you, Angie.
Okay.
Good job.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.